Hi, I'm Kevin Coupe, and this is FaceTime with the Content Guy. Except, as you can see, I'm not by myself this week. I'm here with Michael Sansolo. We were out in California giving a speech to a major retailer. We thought we'd take advantage of the opportunity, get together, do this, schmooze a little bit, talk about issues that are on our minds as well as being on your mind. So let's start. What's new? How's your shoulder?
Shoulder is getting better. You can see I'm out of my sling and I have a little bit of movement, but painful little process here. So let's get to their issues.
I think one of the issues you wanted to talk about was a commentary that came up last week, which was responding to a story about New York Mets pitcher John Roush, who was being abused in social media by Mets fans who didn't like the job he was doing. And I think one of the things I said was, if I were a team owner, I think I'd ban all my athletes from ever using social media. I know you disagree with that one.
I disagree completely. Baseball team owners, like owners of any kind of business, have to understand we're in a new era of communication, of outreach, of community. And John Roush is talking to the fans. And in truth, baseball always wanted that. They wanted people signing autographs out there at events. I think the issue is, and the metaphor comes very quickly at home to retail, we've got to educate people on how to use social media so we have positive interaction with our fan base, with our consumer base, whatever it might be. You need to change your position on this and become an educator.
And I'll absolutely buy that. If I've always thought that sports owners, when they hire these guys and pay them millions of dollars, one of the things they ought to do is they ought to give them like life skills classes, teach them how to deal with the media, teach them how to deal with accountants, how to handle money, and now social media. And I think that makes an awful lot of sense. And it comes back to the story that ran yesterday on Morning Newsbeat about how employees who feel invested in the business, who feel like they're treated like an asset instead of a cost, are always going to be more efficient and effective. And this would be part of one way that sports owners, as well as traditional business owners, could help their people out.
And you know what? I think the great examples are out there, even in sports. I always cite as an example NASCAR. NASCAR drivers seem to have a really good understanding of the relationship they have with their sponsors and their fans, and the relationship the sponsors and the fans have. And you always hear NASCAR drivers enhancing that relationship when they talk.
And
they're great at it.
And I think part of the reason for that, it seems to me, and I think it's like golfers, right? With the exception maybe of Tiger Woods, they understand the big picture. They sort of invested in the entire business.
Absolutely.
Even though the NASCAR drivers have owners, they sort of are independent contractors, right? And so they understand the importance of really being invested in the business and seeing the big picture. Anyway.
But others can make the same understanding, whether it's baseball, retail, manufacturing. Well, I want to move to one other issue, though, that you had in recently, because if I get the chance to hoist you on your petard in front of all these folks, I'm hoisting away. You recently did a fabulous session at the FMI show. I was in the audience, really great, on the Amazon to Zipcar and the changes that are coming our way. And you offered up the capture of the session on DVD, which I think was a great thing to do. But I know you've gotten emails on this. You always talk about moving to the latest technology. So why'd you put it on DVD?
Good question. Well, first of all, it is available on YouTube, let's be clear. But the reason we did it, and actually my instinct on this was proven correct, even to a greater extent than I expected, because people wrote me and said, thank you for doing the DVD. My company will not allow me to access video on my work computer. Some of them don't even have sound cards. And what they said was, listen, this is great because I'd love to be able to show this in meetings. Hey, listen, I think it's a little bit crazy that employers don't allow their people who are on computers in their offices not to have access to video. You hire these people, they're smart, they're young. You don't give them access to the real tools out there, and you're putting one hand behind their back. They're not necessarily going to access YouTube stuff they shouldn't. They're not going to look at porn. I think you have to trust them, educate them, to go back to the previous discussion. But it's silly to kind of not allow them to have all the tools. And quite frankly, you want them to access them because they're going to give you kind of a level of intelligence that maybe you're not going to have otherwise.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I have a little sympathy for the other side on this one, because first of all, we've got to straddle the line technologically. Some people don't know how to do the downloads, or in meetings they need the DVD. But we're in a time of such revolutionary change in technology. I think a lot of business leaders don't know what to do. There are things like, should I allow Facebook in the office? Well, there are a lot of positives with this. This is a new era. I got to believe there was a time phones went on desk and people thought, oh, that's going to kill productivity. It obviously didn't. Education is huge on these emerging technological issues. And you know what? It's going to be a rough ride as we get through it all, but we're going to get through it.
Well, since we're doing this together, I'll quote a movie. It's like a league of their own. Yes, it's hard, but it's the hard that makes it worth doing.
Always.
Anyway, that's what's on our minds this Thursday morning, and as always, we want to hear what's on your mind.